Hello.
Welcome.
Welcome. How are we doing today? This is the dev stream for the next major update, Spearhead. And preemptively, I must apologize because I have some kind of flu at the moment, and I will definitely cough a lot during the stream, so please forgive my voice. Hopefully it won't be too distracting. So we've got quite a few things to show you today. This is usually one of the smaller updates of the year before the final one. We do some cool stuff. And yes, and please also bear in mind we are on the development server, and there may be issues and small chance we might crash, so hopefully that doesn't happen, but we are pretty much prepared for that. So anyway, we don't want to waste any of your time, so let's show you some stuff.
Yes, I think you have one vehicle that you're already looking at.
Yeah, I mean, I'll briefly show you a couple of quite small mechanical things to start off with. So this is a request mostly from content creators. In the privacy settings now, you can now hide your squadron tag, because I know for some people, and especially people in the mod squad as well, it's quite easy to be targeted, especially. And so if you are a content creator and you have like a very particular squad tag and you've got your name randomized, it's often pretty obvious who you are. And so this will now let you be basically completely anonymous in battle, which is really nice. And it's a nice thing, I think, for quite a lot of people as well. Before we show, I know, we know what you're looking at. We'll get there. There's another small feature as well, which I'd like to show you, which is in the hangar, this little cog fella here. You can now change the appearance of the flag. So basically, this works for any nation that you have unlocked. So by default here for Germany, you're probably just going to have the main German flag. But once you have a more modern vehicle, you can switch it to the current German flag. Yes. You can have it so it's just the name Germany or only the flag. And that will then stay there for your bar. And so you've got like an obscure vehicle. So for like Italy, you can make it Brazil. Exactly. Yes. And that will stay there for you. So this is only visible to you. And you can customize this however you like. And it will only be available if you do have a vehicle from that corresponding nation. And also, this is now the case in battles as well. So the operator country will show up at the top. And so it shows a bit more diversity, which is pretty nice. So anyway, I'll quickly show you Oregon City here before we go on to the one thing that everyone wants to see immediately. Oregon City is a bit of a rarer heavy cruiser, I think. It's a development of the Baltimore class, basically. It didn't see too much action. It's basically just a Baltimore with a bit more anti-air defense. So it's a little bit more defensively capable and a little bit more forgiving, I suppose, and the same battle rating. So it's a nice extra one to have there. So this is after the Pittsburgh, and I've got the Pittsburgh here just to show you the comparison. They're very, very similar, but Oregon City has a bit more anti-air defense. I believe the crew count of 2,040 is placeholder. I think it should have roughly the same as the Baltimore class. So a nice ship. So, okay, right. We've made a deal with the other stream because we are both equally incredibly excited for the flying flapjack. We're going to show it to you first in the hangar, and they are going to fly it. So stick around for both streams. You'll be able to see it in action. And I can confirm it's a very strange aircraft to fly. It's if you remember the Key 10 from the day, if you point it directly upwards, it currently can hover. I don't know if it's going to stay like that. But this is the XF5U flying flapjack. The flying pancake is the earlier version, which I think is the V173, the sort of proof of concept. And this is the would-be prototype. It's a beautifully strange plane, and it's my favorite fighter aircraft. Aside from my favorite aircraft is a bomber, but my favorite fighter aircraft is this thing. It's just oddly beautiful in a way, and I really like it. So it's in the 650 cal setup, and it can also carry some bombs as well, which you're probably not really going to want to use too much. But it's very robust. It can turn incredibly well because of the shape, but it will bleed a ton of speed when it turns. But you can do some really silly stuff with it. And it's just so nice to see it. I'm really excited to finally try this. I remember, I think in 2013, when I was like a bab, I left a forum suggestion for this. Now over a decade later, it's finally here, and I'm really happy to see it. So this is the Dreams Come True vehicle, which you can get in the event, which will start quite soon. And it's going to be well worth it. It's one of the most unique looking aircraft in the world, and it's just
everything
amazing.
About it is unique.
It is, yeah. And
even if you go on the X-ray view, there's one really interesting quirk about it. If you look where the engines are situated, where the propellers are, you have this really kind of long setup of
because it's a carrier aircraft, so it needs to have these really, and the props are huge.
Yeah, exactly. You can't really put an engine out about that far on the wing, so they to find unique solutions for everything. So just about every single piece of that plane has some unique quirk to it.
Yes, and I think it's a really fitting vehicle for the event. And if you want to see it fly, please tune into the next stream, and they will give you a very thorough demonstration. And so I won't spend too much time on the flapjack because you'll see it a bit more later. I think you've got some business to show next.
I think we're moving up a little bit in the times here. Coming to the F16, yeah. Nervousness. The F-15 Golden Eagle as a new addition to the American tree. This has some really well fitting advancements compared to other F-15s that we already have in the game. The first one is that you are having the first DAESA radar in the American tree. Probably the best radar that you could wish for in at least the ability to go up on par on some of the other top tier jets that we have in the game. RWR is still the same one, I believe, that you have on the F-15C that we already have in the tree. Currently, you can bring M120As and M120Cs. And if you go on the hard points right now, you can bring up to 8 of them. You can also bring conformal fuel tanks on some of these. They are, we've had one other jet in a previous patch that made it really chunky. You can kind of see it here. You're adding these like cheeks to it. Not sure if you want that many fuel tanks on it. Like you can really pack this thing with those. You have a complement of unguided dumb bombs, a complement of regular
quite a few options. Yeah.
Yes, of some guided bombs as well. No BOL pods, at least in the version that we have here. Of course, we're on the dev server, so things might be subject to change. As with everything.
Yeah, it's a lot of still preliminary at the moment.
So at least for the time being, you are going to be able to run with 240 countermeasures on it. And there's a second vehicle that you can already see here as well that is also quite unique.
Yeah, it's
really cool. At least in the helicopter space, the AH-56A Cheyenne, which...
It's another very strange fella.
Yeah,
for the Americans.
It's also a very fast fella.
I think it's the fastest. Well, it's a composite heli, so it doesn't really count in the same way of like the G-Link.
That's true. I mean,
the fastest.
If you look at it, you have the back propeller over here. I think it makes sense if we just quickly go on a test flight, because there's another thing that is very unique about this thing. Not just that it's basically the fastest helicopter in the game when it comes to total speed. Even if you go on something like a dive, I think I pushed it to 460 kilometers. No, you also have 2 turrets on it.
Yeah, that's cool.
You can switch these. You can either have a 30mm main cannon with a 40mm grenade launcher system. You can kind of see that they're both shooting here at the same time. You also have, if you look at the front position here, the turret gunner, however you want to call it, has a swiveling seat that kind of
he turns to face the direction.
Swings around in the direction that you're looking, which I personally thought was a funny little quirk. You can bring ITO missiles. We have also the ability to bring Mighty Mouse and some other unguided missiles.
I think the gun turret underneath, I think, is the same gun that's on the XM30 Huey Premium as well. I think it's the same one.
Also rotates 360 degrees, so like if I wanted to, I could.
Yeah, so this is a squadron heli
around here
for America. So it's, well, I think probably one of the most unique helis we're ever going to have. There's not many like this, and it's definitely a really cool addition.
I think it only ever went into pre-series production, the Cheyenne.
Yeah, and it had some production problems, and it sort of it went over budget and over schedule, and I think the US cancelled it in favor of some other designs, so it never really went anywhere.
They had other helis that went to, I think this was probably in production or in development during the Vietnam era, and then when the war ended, they probably went over budget with it for quite a lot, and they switched back.
There was a crash with it, and that made them sort of have to spend a lot of time fixing the safety issues. So,
which then I think one part of the knowledge that they had of this went into the Apache and another in the A10 probably. You see some similarities, at least in some of the looks. Very interesting vehicle currently sitting. I will also briefly show the overall modifications over here.
Yep. So to keep the BR low, it's not immensely well armed, at least as far as helis go. But it'd be nice for the lineup. That's really cool.
Absolutely. I think
Awesome.
You're looking at the next one.
Yeah, I can show you some stuff for Germany.
Yep.
So first, I will show you the German, the most German way you can pronounce it possible.
The SMS König.
Excellent. Perfect. That's way better than I would have done. So this is the first of the class, and I think it's also the lead ship Jutland, I think it was. And I believe it's also currently a wreck dive, so you can sort of have a swim off Scarpa Flow and have an explore of it. It's quite similar to the existing 6.7s for Germany. It's just the turret arrangement. It's a bit more convenient. So I've got Kaiser here we can look at. So for the turret arrangement, it's a little bit more convenient for your angles and stuff. But in terms of being a functional ship, it's very, very similar. So at least I don't really play battleships too much. I prefer destroyers and cruisers, so I'm not really hugely familiar with a lot of the elements of the ship. But I'll show you briefly, have a look at the armor, which often changes, but similar to what we have already. It's a nice historically relevant ship, and it's very pretty as well. And also while we're here, I will show you the model update for the Tiger II. This is the regular version. And this has been a crusty model for quite a long time. And now it's much cleaner. I won't show you, the armor is a bit placeholder at the moment. There's some gaps in it. So just to avoid it looking a bit weird, we won't show the armor. But nothing's really changed in terms of protection. It's just now visually much more cohesive and a lot cleaner. So this model update, as far as I understand, will affect the regular Tiger II and the SLA Premium. It won't affect the KC-105 if you have that, as that's a slightly different model. But this one and the Premium will be affected. And it's so much cleaner and a lot nicer. And this is the base skin, which is slightly different now. The original was a bit more sort of deserty, but this one's a bit softer. But yeah, you know what this is, so we won't spend too much time on it. But it's very pretty. What do you think? A fan?
I think, well, the Tiger II in general is a very iconic vehicle. And that was probably one of the more older
it's one of the first models
in the game. Yeah.
It's over 10 years old.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to have an update to some of the more iconic vehicles that have been in the game for a long time. I mean, the game has changed a lot in the last 10 years in the case of this vehicle run. So cool to see.
Nice to see it, yeah. So I'll also quickly jump over to Britain in our scheduling here. So I'll firstly show you the Chieftain 900 with the frog on the side for some reason, don't remember why. This is a new Chieftain. It's built off the Mark V chassis. It's very similar to the basic Chieftain, but with a more powerful engine, 912 horsepower. The 900, the name is from the engine, not the 900th Chieftain. But in terms of protection, it's very, very similar. So this was a concept Chieftain modification, basically. And this layout was meant to be filled with Chobham armor, but it was never mounted in reality on any of the actual Chieftains. They made 2 of these. So it's covered in structural steel to emulate what the extra armor would look like. So it doesn't actually have much extra protection other than superficial structural steel, excuse me, which is mostly just effective against Hesh and things like that. So in reality, it won't be doing too much in terms of protection, but it is much more reactive and a lot speedier. It's the same top speed as the Mark V, the regular one, but it reaches that speed much more conveniently, and it's much more responsive and reactive. It gets the dart round as well, and it also has a laser rangefinder, so it's very convenient to use. It's not quite as speedy as the Premium, but it's fast enough to get around, and for 9.0, it works pretty well, and it's decently offensive and defensive, and I quite like the Chieftain. So it's very much a nice one to have here. And that's located just before the Mark 10, I think, or just after it. Oh, well, we can check. We're here. Why not? So it's, just after the Mark 10, before the Challenger. And you've got another plane to observe, I think.
Yeah, we do indeed. You can already see it on your screen as well.
Of course.
Let's switch back here. We have the Hawk 200, which I think, is a fighter development version of the regular jet trainer from the UK, the regular Hawk. In the current configuration that we have on the dev server for it, you can bring up to 4 AIM-9Ls. You have the regular 30mm Aiden that is on a lot of British jets in general. It is a very kind of small,
It's very compact, yeah.
compact, kind of like shrunk almost looking vehicle. You have
It's quite cute, isn't it?
yeah,
I think, really.
it looks a little bit like BB's first jet in a way.
A little bit, yeah.
It looks
Like a bit
very
like a toy.
modern. No?
Excuse me. How's the flight performance? Like, how does it work? Can we give it a quick go?
Yes, I think we do. Just before we do that, though, quickly going through what ornaments you can take on it. You have some options to bring Mavericks. You have some bombs. If you want to bring a drop tank, I guess on this vehicle, not really yet necessary too much unless you want to really fly for a long time. Also for 10.7, having at least depths over everything being subject to change, but with an assumed 10.7 at least in this current configuration, right? 60 flare sword chef is also a good mix.
Nice.
In terms of performance of the plane, I would say it is going to be on the slower end, of course.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Especially against other planes that you can meet in whether that be air or ground. It's probably going to be slotting in as a good support jet. I like to call these kind of scavengers, because what you can do quite well with these is harass people that are already in engagements.
Yeah.
AIM-9Ls are notoriously good for stuff like this, because you can also launch them from more just than, like a back aspect. And of course, it being relatively nimble, you have relatively good performance even when you're flying somewhat slow. You have an okay amount of ammo, I would say, on the Aidens in general. I mean, there's some planes like the Hunter where you have 400 and 600 ammo total, where you have 150 per round. This comes in at about 100 a round. Well, it comes in at 100 a round. But it's still a fair amount of ammo if you, especially because the guns are also relatively close together, and not on the wings, but in the fuselage.
I can also give you a little bit of extra details on this plane as well. I believe in this update, it's not quite ready yet, but there are 2 versions of this plane. The regular Hawk 200, which is a Z200, I think, in the serial. There's also, I think, ZJ201, which is the Hawk RDA, the radar development aircraft version. Those are two separate aircraft. So this later version gets a radar in the nose, and the onboard cannons are removed. And the radar, I think it's like an earlier cut down F-16A radar, roughly. It can carry 2 extra sidewinders. And I believe it can also carry sky flashes, though we're not 100% sure if it's going to get them yet, because that might mean the BR is going to jump up, and that might make the aircraft like just a bit too out of its depth in that environment. But I believe next update, that aircraft should be folded with this regular Hawk 200 here. So yeah, no onboard guns, radar, extra missiles, maybe sky flashes. I'm not sure. We'll see what the developments are there. It could, I think, potentially carry some underslung gun pods, but there are no photos of it, so I'm not sure if it'll have those yet.
Yes.
But yeah, that should be coming a bit later, and we'll see how the reaction is and where it's going to fit and that sort of thing. So yes, your experience as a prolific jet Andy, what do you think? Where does it fit?
I think the version that we have right now is going to be in a similar position as the AMX was when that was released.
Okay.
As a plane that you might not necessarily just be able to win every engagement by flying in straight, but by being able to kind of work around and jump on easy opportunities, but also be able to hold your own in individual dogfights. You won't be chasing down a MiG-21 that is flying at 5,000 meters going Mach 1.5, but you will be able to harass anybody in engagements, at least for this version.
Cool. Okay.
You're looking at the next thing.
Yeah, so I'll show you some Soviet stuff. This is Erevan, which is a new destroyer. It's a bit of an obscure one again. It's like a sort of thinner Tashkent. So I've got Tashkent here to show you. This is a chunky fella, and this is a smaller fella. So it's got higher crew. It's not quite as fast, excuse me, but it's a bit more nimble. Firepower is effectively the same. It just has one more torpedo. It's the 5 tubes instead of the three threes. So it's 2 5s, and it's a nice one to have. It's a bit obscure. Like I was reading about it, I think it wasn't built 100% built during the war, because when the Axis invaded, they sort of cancelled it. And then after the war, they used it as a guided ship missile target, sunk it, and then floated it, and then scrapped it. So it had like a bit of a sad legacy, bless it. But now you can experience it in the game. It's a nice extra Soviet destroyer, which is pretty nice. Also got some more tanks to show you. This is probably my most, maybe visually one of the least interesting, but functioning one of the most interesting. This is the T-34-85 Tehran, which is a regular T-34-85, completely identical, basically in terms of armor and firepower, aside from the gun. This has a gyro stabilizer, which functionally at the moment, and I'll just show you, is the same as the Sherman. So it's not a shoulder stab; it's basically a gyro. So I think up till about 25 kilometers an hour, your gun is completely stable, and if you hit that, it's going to start bouncing again as usual. But you come to a stop, it's going to level off, and that's going to mean you're going to get the shot off really, really quickly. And so the Shermans are one of the most slept-on vehicles in the game. They are amazing simply for the reason that they can accurately fire on most enemies quicker than they can every time. But with the T-34, you're coupling that ability with a much more powerful shell and much more aggressive mobility. And so that is going to be amazing. And I think for 6.0, with the lineup that you have, this is going to be probably my favorite vehicle to play. So currently this is after before the T-44 in rank 4. And it's going to be replacing the T-34-85, which is now moving one rank below, and it's folded with the D5T in this folder here. So that's moving down, and the Tehran is going to be here before the T-44. So it's really nice to see. Armor is pretty much the same. It's like superficial differences. Firepower is the same. You just have a Sherman-esque stabilizer, which is quite cool.
Yeah, functional T-34-85 with a little quirk up top there over the turret. That's like basically the only thing that you can see visually that is like a real difference.
Yeah, it may not seem like... It's one of those things with tanks, because like a stabilizer is less tangible. Like armor and firepower is more tangible, but a stabilizer isn't. But this will make the tank so much more competitive, and it will give it such an edge compared to what it fights, and I'm really excited to play it. So this is going to be really, really good. Excuse me. And I'll quickly also show you the BTR-82AT. This is the anti-tank version of the BTR. These slats are optional. You can take those off as well. I think that's like 600 or 1,000, so a ton of weight basically it's taken off, which you can have on there. It's fully stabilized. The 30mm here is stabilized. It's got a spore liner and I think 3 ATGMs on top. These are they're similar to the ATGMs on the Chrysanthemum. They are a bit slower, same penetration, slightly more filler, but they're very, very similar, but speed a little bit less. They currently don't have an ATGM site, so you can't park behind a hill and just like plop them over the ridge. I don't know if that's going to be added. I don't know too much about the vehicle so far. Maybe, I'm not sure. And they can't fire on the move either, so you need to come to a stop. It's a little bit heavier, slightly better engine. The same firepower for the 30mm as the one at 7.0. Yeah, fully stabilized, a bit more survivable. If you get hit with like a rushed shot, there's a higher chance you're going to survive with a spore liner. And that missile can knock out basically anything. It's a tandem, like 1,200 mil pen. It's going to be pretty effective. And not too many rounds available, so it's going to be a bit limited, but stabilizer is going to make it work really well, and well beyond its BR, it's going to be good. This is currently in the tank destroyer line, so it's not in the light vehicle line here. It's currently after this folder with the IT-1 and the Sturm, before the Object 775. As it's like the AT anti-tank variant, so it's in the anti-tank tree, basically. That's going to be nice. It's another light option for the USSR, so pretty cool. Yeah, and I think you've got some planes to observe now.
Yes.
One plane.
I mean, coming from a ATGM that is sitting in orbit,
yeah,
to a plane, I guess, that's sitting in orbit. We have a premium Su-30 Mark II from, in this case,
it's Venezuela, isn't it?
Yes, Venezuela, exactly. This is a mostly export-oriented plan. You have the RVV AE, you You have the R-73E and some of the missiles in between. I've gone through, had a look at what these are. The RVVAE, basically, that's the export designation of the R-77. I think if you translate it, it means something like active radar, anti-air export, basically.
Okay.
Missile. So it's a very creative naming over here. But looks, RVVAE sounds cooler, to be honest.
Yes.
You can bring up to 6 of them. I also put the KH-59 in, which if you look at the parameters of this one,
it looks quite scary,
Yes.
especially because it's a higher number. So you're going to think it's staggeringly good, but it's a bit more of a gimmick missile.
Yes.
We can probably show you a bit how that works.
yes,
It's not very scary, really. It's kind of an arbitrary addition, I think, in terms of how it's going to function.
yes. We will shortly talk about that. Before that, though, I want to briefly mention all the abilities of the Su-30 Mark II here. You have a non-laser radar. I mean, right now it's slotted in at 13.3. Of course, battle ratings are always subject to change on the dev server, but at least in where it slots in, that should be more than sufficient. You have a RWR in the kind of like maybe not like top tier section, but also able to give you like ample information. And you can bring up to 10 missiles in total on this with the current configuration. Let me put this in a test drive to check out the KH-59 missiles. Basically what these are, I would almost... They're not exactly a cruise missile.
No, they're kind of...
They have, I would say, at least in portions of the flight time, they somewhat behave like one.
I do know what you mean, yeah.
Is what I would like to say. Like, that's the best attempt that I have to like properly explain what these are. What you can do with these basically is if you go in a position, you can launch and lock regular tanks, of course. You're probably not going to launch them at ships, but we have a big target over here that is some distance away. You have a relatively stable flight path of these at about, I believe, 600 meters of altitude.
Yes. So no matter where you launch, they will sit at 600
Yes.
while they guide into their target.
Let's
Excuse me.
lock the frigate over here and launch one and observe how it's going.
So I'm not too familiar exactly with these, but they're very slow.
Yes.
They're very, very slow, and they can't acquire a target on their own. So you can launch them and lock them, but they won't reacquire. They don't track, right?
At least not with the ability that you have in some top-of-the-line guided bombs and missiles, where you can basically just laser designate them into a specific location, and then they will home in the target, and you can basically change on the fly. This is kind of, more like a big bomb that is able for you to be able to lock on a specific target, and then goes for that.
So they're very slow and very predictable, really. And if you're maneuvering or smoking, they're not going to hit you.
We drop
as far as I understand
on one of the tanks over here. Me acquiring a specific location, I've now locked that missile to go there. It will now fly its trajectory at this point. I can't really change its position and its target on the floor here anymore, but I can watch it impact, of course. So see, it kind of has this terminal phase where it will start lofting down from its original position. It isn't going to be the weapon to end all weapons, but it certainly is going to be a very interesting one. And a type of weapon that we, at least right now, if you compare it to like gliding bombs or something, it behaves different.
Yeah, but I believe if it loses the target, like if you smoke and reposition, it can't reacquire on its own, I believe. Is that right?
You might be right.
I'm not too familiar with it, but as far as I understand, that's right. We can clarify later, I'm sure, but it's not exactly too scary a missile. It's very slow and very predictable.
Yes.
And can be countered quite effectively as well.
To the question of range, You will be able to launch it from a fairly long distance. I believe you can also launch them from 20 kilometers to a target, and they will come into range. But there remains to be the question if you're going to hit something standing still for the entire flight time of 20 kilometers distance.
Yeah, I mean, if someone's going to sit still for you for like 2 minutes or whatever, then
Yeah.
at that range. I mean, it's a lot of the advantages are kind of arbitrary, really.
Yeah, you might have to get lucky on a target that is willing to, be idle enough.
Just feed themselves to you.
Yeah, exactly. They have about, I think the speed of the missile is about 300 meters per second. So
can we hover over it and check? Just it might be some placeholder stuff, but we can have a brief look as well.
Yeah, you have 600 seconds missile guiding time and a maximum speed of 0.9 Mach. So 0.9 Mach might be 300 meters per second roughly. So what is Mach speed? 340, 334, something like that.
I have flu brain. I don't know anything.
Okay.
Relying on your maths.
But you know some stuff. You're looking at the next
I know some stuff. That's true. I've at least got that.
Let's switch over.
Okay, so I'll briefly show you some more ships. So for Japan, of course, we have Yamato here, and we also have the sister Musashi. So this is Yamato's sister ship, and this is in the earlier configuration. Yamato is in the 1945 fit. It's in the 1943 fit. So you've got the wing guns here, to 2 extra 155s, and much less anti-air protection. There's a bit of a lighting problem with the deck, so ignore that. It's not going to look like that when it comes out. So they are very similar ships, like functionally identical, really. In terms of armor and that sort of thing, the crew is a bit lower. I'm not 100% sure if that's going to change or not. But in terms of offensive capability, they're pretty much the same. It's just that Musashi has slightly less anti-air protection. I believe the armor is like functionally identical. There's some differences, but it's not really too severe. And they're very, very similar ships. And this is currently in the next line over. So for the Blue Water Fleet, it's after Amagi. So they're both here like this. So it's nice to see you've got more options now to spawn in top tier naval. Also show you Nagato, which is the sister of Mutsu, which is the much more advanced sister of Mutsu here. There's quite a few differences at a higher BR. So Nagato has a much more diverse anti-air setup, so lots more guns for anti-air defense compared to Mutsu. The main firepower, pretty much the same apart from a new round. So Nagato gets the Type 91 APC shell. This has worse penetration at close ranges, but more penetration at further ranges. So that's what matters, really. I believe it's like 3.7 kilograms of extra filler on the AP round compared to Mutsu. I think on the, roughly that. So, excuse me. It's going to be a higher BR, so you're going to get into high battle rating matches, but it is a more advanced ship, and it's going to be quite a good one to move through. And the tower looks very aggressive, which I like. It reminds me of the tower from Professor Layton, The Curious Village, for some reason. I like that. It's such a meaningless reference, but yeah. So there's 2 new ships for Japan. I'd also like to mention as well, there are quite a few more vehicles that should be coming for the update. They're not quite ready yet. Some may not make it, some probably will. But there are some more things that we won't have time to show today and that aren't quite ready yet that will be coming. So a couple for Japan, maybe. I'm not too sure, but there's some more things we can to expect. And while you move on.
But something that we can show you and that is coming in this patch is the squadron vehicle in the Chinese tree, the Pakistani Oplat. This is functionally the same one that we already have in the Japanese tree for Thailand. Oplat P kind of hints at Pakistan here. Has basically the same armor layout, the same APS system, the same composite armor, and also is running the same ammunition as the one in the Japanese tree. As of right now, the second vehicle that we have here is the CM34. Currently in the tree, it's sitting down in the wheeled vehicle line that you have on the Chinese tree. There's a lot of a variety of vehicles. Curiously enough, none of them currently are equipped with an autocannon, so this is the first one.
It feels like kind of playstyle gap to the autocannon vehicles for sure, yeah.
So it's slotting in an area where it will probably be quite good. You have an internal spore liner most of it. Engine on the front is also good. It doesn't have a lot of armor, but at least you will probably be able to survive a 50 kill from the front.
Yeah, superficial hits you can survive. Yeah.
Exactly. You have, let me go to the modifications here, the ability to bring APF SDS, 114 rounds. It's belt fed, which is also always quite good, especially on IFVs. With a 30mm Bushmaster, 200 rounds per minute is quite good. And because you can just cycle the magazines instead of, having to reload a ready rack, it's gonna be able to put a lot of
convenient
downrange, basically. You're looking at the next one, I think.
Yeah, I'll show you. There was a dev blog about this a couple of days ago. This is the C13 TUA, which is like the M901, but for Italy.
Italian Wally.
Pretty much, yeah. It's very, very similar. Offensively, it's identical. It's the same weapon system. It has this the gunner optic here, same amount of ammunition, same missiles, the ITOs, and the same amount of gun depression. It's just on a better chassis, basically, so it's a bit more mobile, which is nice because that sort of hurt the M109 quite a bit. And so a vehicle like this works quite well because it's basically up-tier proof, and you can engage from behind most cover that other vehicles can't. So on maps and battle ratings where the vehicles that you have might not work as effectively, this is still going to work because you can play it defensively, completely in its element, and it's still going to work quite well. It's a nice squadron vehicle for Italy. Negatives are, of course, like the launcher needs to fold back and then deploy. So it's a little bit of time before you can actually pop it back up again. Put it in a good spot defensively and it's going to work really well. It's going to be a cheap spawn. It's going to work well beyond its battle rating, and it's always going to be an option when other vehicles that you have don't work quite as well. So if you are familiar with the M901, very similar weapon system, just a bit more convenient with the chassis. So nice to see it.
Yes. Coming back to me here.
Yeah.
We have another vehicle in the Italian tree that is coming. And I hope I say this right, the Air Machi. Machi? Don't crucify me on the naming. The MB326K, which is a more lower battle rating vehicle that is also able to bring, and I've put them on here,
an aggressive amount of miniguns.
An aggressive amount of miniguns, yes. You can put a lot of bullets downrange with this. I've also tried it. You can reach about 170 kilometers an hour backwards.
What's the burst mass of those guns?
On the runway? That's a very good question.
If we hover over it, the icon, I think it should show you on the main card. It's like over the icon.
Let's see here.
16.4.
16.4. That's not exactly a little amount, yeah. You might not necessarily want to bring this much. It makes you quite heavy. This is like 700 kilograms in weight on top of the plane. The plane itself, again, we have another 30mm DEFA. We have these on a lot of guns. 125 rounds per gun. If you don't bring the full loadout here or any of the other options that you have, you can use this as a ground support vehicle. You will have a relatively nimble plane at even at moderately slower speeds, and it being kind of in this like rank 5 area, it's gonna have quite a lot of good cases. If you look, it kind of fills this gap that you have in the.
There's like a bit of an attacker gap there.
Yes, exactly. You have some lower rank attackers, but then the other stuff really only like maybe 7.7, but then the majority of them are kind of sitting in this like 8.0, 8.7 bracket. So this is going to be able to fill that gap where you have ground support. I think good addition. Maybe not the fastest plane, even for its battle rating, but also nimble enough to probably hold its own.
What is the maneuverability like with all those pods on?
With all those pods, it's not very good. You struggle a little bit when you're slow. Without them, it's much better.
It's got 2 onboard 30 mils, and
yes.
it can take 2 extra 30s in pods,
yes.
I think, right?
You can also bring another 30mm pod system here if you wanted to. Of course, you can just bring miniguns galore if you wanted to. You can bring it as an air-to-air loadout or air-to-ground. Either of them really works. But I want you to show this one. The one that you're looking at right now, Tom. this is one of the most tone vehicles of all time.
You say that all the time, but it loses
But it's
so
so
much meaning.
true. It's so true.
This is the Fokker D23. It's a prototype. That had a bit of a sad story. I mean, it never really completely worked. In reality, the plane had an unfixable cooling problem in the rear engine that could not be fixed, which meant that while the pilot was doing the maneuvers, it was never pushed to its limit, so it could never really excel. And these are Czech engines, and because Germany invaded Czechoslovakia, they had no support for the engine tuning and couldn't fix the plane, and eventually it was just captured by Germany and I think scrapped eventually. But it's an interesting design. It looks similar to the Swedish J21, although it has absolutely nothing to do with it. It just incidentally looks quite similar. And there's not really much clarity on whether it was inspired, the design inspired it. But it is equipped with similar guns. So they're misaligned at the moment. These should be the 13.2 millimeter guns, the FN 13.2. So it's offensively very strong. I'll give you a very, very brief test flight of it. It's not the most maneuverable aircraft. It's okay, but it doesn't exactly excel. At speed, you'll do okay, but if you want to defensively fly with it, if something's on your tail, there's not really a huge amount that you can do. Even with flaps on, it's not going to do a hugely competent job. So it's a bit more of a heavy fighter in function. Of course, you're quite vulnerable from the back as well with the engine. It can just about run on one, but these are quite weak engines, like relatively, so you don't want to lose them. It's a bit more fragile. It's very interesting. It's a nicely unique aircraft, and the 13.2 millimeter guns are incredibly strong. The speed it's got is okay. You are going to probably be outrun by stuff if you're playing against some more advanced aircraft, but firepower is good, maneuverability is good enough, and speed is good enough. So it's not exactly overwhelmingly powerful, but it's got enough assets in every area to work, and I think that makes it quite a good plane. And it's nice because it was a bit of a sad story with the prototype, and it's really nice to see it. It's good to have it in game, and it's quite exciting. Somebody, I think, gave a book on this aircraft to our office about 8 years ago, and it's been on my desk since I started working here. And it's kind of fitting that it's finally available to play, and it's really nice to see. So yeah, hopefully you enjoy this. It's early France for the Dutch, and I hope you enjoy playing it. It's a nice little unique, strange fella. Yeah. And I'll also quickly move on to the extra naval forces that we have to show you today. Alongside Richelieu, we have, and I believe, how do I pronounce it? I can't do a good job. I think it's like Clemenceau. I think this is the third Richelieu class after Jean Bart that was never finished. I think it was about 10% finished before France was invaded. I think the Germans like briefly considered making the ship, but then it was too much effort and didn't bother in the end. So functionally in game, this is going to be similar to a Musashi. It's a slightly less defensively capable version of Richelieu. It has the wing guns again, the wing cannons here, but significantly less anti-air defenses. So it's a nice second spawn for your 8.3 like top line up, excuse me. But it's not significantly more powerful or different really. The armor, I believe, is basically identical. I don't think there really should be any differences. Maybe there are, but I'm not too familiar with that. They should be very, very similar. It's mostly just in the anti-air potential. And I think the crew count as well is going to be slightly different because obviously Richelieu has more guns, so more crew. And yeah, it's going to be a bit of a second spawn, but to give some more lineup variety and a bit more bolstering, I think it makes sense. And it's a nice one to have here too, to see these sort of unfinished ships have a bit more of a life in the game. And we also have, this is the new top for French Coastal, Le Bressois, I think, which is an interesting frigate. It has the dual 57mm mounts here, so one here, and the 100mm on the back, which is the same gun that's on Lübeck, the Prim and Kulm as well for the top German tree, except that it has one instead of two. It's a really powerful gun, and these have proxy rounds for aircraft. They're pretty powerful. It's pretty weak in terms of the ammo racks, because if any enemy knows what ship you're in and has any kind of AP projectile, you're going to die, because the racks are very, very apparent and very obvious. Though at close range, it does have quite a lot of torpedoes, and these are really flexible. So it's going to be quite a good one to like zoom into the closer ranges. So for the coastal area, and then because a lot of destroyers like to go there and shoot the coastal ships, and if you can get there first, you can use these to just destroy anything, because they're They're not the strongest. They're weak for torpedoes. Not a lot of range, but at close range, they're really powerful. So it's a nice one to go for. It does have a blue water spawn, of course, but you can zoom it right back to the coastal area, and it's going to do pretty well. It has no AP projectiles, just high explosive. But it's a nice, unique ship. I think it's quite a late one as well, like from the 70s, roughly. So it's a bit of a later ship, but a cool one, all the same. And as a coastal enjoyer, for whatever reason, I'm sure you'll have a nice time playing it. What about you? You have something a bit more universal, I think.
In terms of the next vehicle that I can show you.
I'm full of segues.
Fantastic. Let's have a look. Now, I think this is one of the most anticipated vehicles for this patch. The French Jaguar EBRC.
It looks so top heavy. Do you know what I mean?
Extremely spacious turret over here with like tons of add-ons. First things first, you see it also has the similar to the BTR.
Yeah, the cage-on, which is an option you can sell off.
Armor. Yes, you can uninstall that. It makes the vehicle look a little bit less cluttered, maybe a little bit less spacey. Still looks very modern. I mean, it is a modern vehicle, of course.
It's incredibly modern.
You have a really not very well armored vehicle overall. I think in terms of armor, you are going to struggle against.
It has a spore liner, doesn't it?
Yes, does have a spore liner on the entire area, both on the turret and the hull itself.
And the gun performance is pretty good.
Yes, with a 40mm CDC cannon. This one isn't belt fed, but instead has a ready rack of about 60 rounds. They do reload relatively quickly, though. You have let's go into the modifications. APFSDS round with up to 160mm of pen. I would say you're not going to have a lot of problems trying to shoot people's
it's good. It's very good.
Sides, especially in top tier. Might not penetrate the front armor of a vehicle, but you can basically pinpoint for turret rings and the side of vehicles and such. Some very modern vehicle shells as well. You have head ammunition. You have the fuse timer HE against whether that be helis or planes, and a normal HE round. You also have the in-vehicle ATGM that you can see here on the side, the Acheron MP. This is similar to how spikes work, more a fire and forget weapon that you lock
it's only two,
target.
right? It's only two.
Yes.
Two missiles.
Let me go on a test drive and just quickly show you.
Maybe we can see the mobility as well.
Yes. That's the other part as well. First things first. Let's lock a target and launch. Let's lock two. So you can see you kind of have this like upwards angle. You might not be able to launch at something immediately in front of you, but it does a lot of damage for the two that you have, and you can shoot them relatively quickly as well. You have smoke cartridges in all bunch of directions. There's another quirky little thing about this one. You can kind of see, like, if I pop these, you get a full 360-degree coverage.
It's a very big vehicle, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's also, as you mentioned, it's a very top heavy vehicle. You have a very bulky turret overall. But that it adds to the modernity of the vehicle. As you see, you have a very good fire rate. I think overall it's gonna be a very good kind of addition to the. It's currently sitting in the tank destroyer line on the French tree. Might add to like the higher tier loadouts, because the French tree so far has been lacking a IFV that has a fast firing autocannon that is stabilized and has ATGMs as well.
Yeah.
And as mentioned, because you also have ammunition that you can maybe also use against helicopters, you have somewhat of a combined role. Of course, because it has a ready rack, you cannot shoot the entire ammunition compartment of yours out like you can with a belt-fed vehicle, reload for 10 seconds and then go again. You kind of have to, bide your time at least a little bit, be a little bit less on the W side, but as you can also see, the mobility of it is also really quick.
That's very convenient. I believe as well, I think it has like the space for 2 extra missiles in storage. It doesn't have them right now. That might be a balance thing. It often is. I'm not sure if it'll get those or stay as it is, because it depends. But I think it could. That was a good spin. That was a good spin. Well done.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
We also live. Okay.
I think that's everything for. Do you have like an extra thing for Israel to show?
Yes, we have one last vehicle that we can show you that is coming. Let's quickly switch over. First, we have the MD450B Ouragan.
Yep, from the Wasp squadron.
The 100
one of the coolest shark mouths. Yeah.
Yes. It's a particular plane that was flown by a I think by a captain of the 113 squadron here, with the plane number 29. That's why it also
Quite
has
a few of
29
them
here.
have the shark mouth on, but they all look very aggressive the same way. I mean, it's a convenient premium. I mean, Israel doesn't have one for rank 5, so it's nice.
Kind of it fills this kind of a slot over here.
I mean, it doesn't detract from any other sort of more unique vehicles they could get in the future as well. So it's just like an inoffensive premium if you'd like one for that rating. So too bad. It's a familiar one. So
you have some option to bring ground ordnance as well. So you can bring it as a ground support vehicle, as a air-to-air vehicle with the cannons that you have. Again, Urugans we have in the game right now, so it's gonna be a solid vehicle. We have a second vehicle though.
Yeah, I'll show you. This is the last vehicle for today. Sweden should have something, but it's not ready yet, so don't worry. This is the Zelda. Well, nickname Zelda. This is an M113 with a 60mm HVG on the top. It looks a bit silly, but it's actually quite cool. It's got 5 crew members, so it's decently stacked up. The only difficulty with it is that the gun depression over certain elements is quite poor. So, for example, over the driver's hatch, it can't depress. Same with the exhaust like pipe here, it can't depress. But aside from that, it's pretty good. It's got a full stabilizer, so it's fully stabilized, 5-second reload, 8 rounds in the rack. It's not too bad, really. It's kind of interesting. I'm kind of excited to play this one. At the moment, it looks a little bit like, for weight, the hull is shifted slightly upwards if you look, so it might have 1 degree less gun depression. So maybe you just sort of point it back towards the back so you've got the guns. Yeah, so you can have a bit more of like an aggressive look, and that should give you a bit more scope with the depression as well. Yeah, it's nice. It's a cool one for Israel. I didn't really know about this until we were looking at it for the stream. So yeah, it's a nice little unique fella for Israel. Damage, of course, is like a bit scruffy with this gun. It's a very low caliber round. Yeah. But with the autoloader, the crew survivability that you've got, and the hull, you've got quite a small silhouette hull down. It's pretty nice, and the full stab makes it quite versatile as well. So it's a nice one, and this is in the rightmost line as well. So cool stuff. And so that's the last vehicle we've got to show you today. Of course, there will be more, hopefully, when the update releases. This is usually our smallest update of the year. We do have some small stuff, and before we finish today, while our co-workers set up their stream, we can show you some of the new maps for a couple of minutes if we've got time. Yeah?
I think let me set up a custom battle on one of them.
Yeah, so I'll show you one, and we'll show the other.
Yes.
And then we can finish on that and maybe look at a couple of questions. We won't have too much time because our colleagues are starting quite soon. But if you've got any questions, we've got a couple of minutes and we can try and answer what we can. Small stuff, obviously, because some things aren't confirmed. But we'll do what we can for a couple more minutes until our colleagues start their stream.
But it really doesn't matter where you put that Zelda thing. Oh, yeah.
It's got its little splash guard, yeah.
Yeah, the splash guard in front,
that's cute.
Like it's one of those ad hoc vehicles that, you don't really expect to have a gun either. If I was flying and ran into an M113 chassis, I wouldn't expect it to have a 60mm.
You wouldn't, no.
So
it's got incredible elevation as well. No sort of proxy on it, but it can point all the way up. Not bad. So this is one of the new reworked maps on your end here.
Yes. Let me switch that. You can.
Yeah, go for it. I'll put on Stalingrad and also
Yes.
try and have a read of some comments as well. We've got a little bit of time, not too much,
Yes.
and we'll see what we can do there.
So this is the reworked Carpathians that we have here. Some new textures, updates to some of the. I think Carpathians being one of the more older maps in the game in general, so it was time for an overhaul.
One of the earliest maps, yeah.
Yes. Been one of the kind of old faithful ones that I've played for an eternity.
Yeah.
That I remember even having played in some of the era where we had no stabilized vehicles in general.
I know Polish under Italy's not replaced with Brazil. You now have the ability to change the flag of every nation. Brazil has not annexed Italy in the game.
Brazil is no Italy.
If you have a vehicle in the tree that has a you have vehicles in the tree that have a different operator nation, you can change the flag in your hangar to that. So
Everything is now Brazil.
absolutely.
Fantastic.
Dev service should open soon. ETA obviously is quite excuse me, it can change, but we should see it quite soon. And our colleagues will be showing some more stuff soon as well. They should start their stream very, very soon. We'll probably raid them so you can go and you can join them too, and they'll show you some things we didn't. They're usually a bit more technical, so we can have a look at that.
Quickly go down here and then we switch over to you.
Sure, yeah, we've got a couple of minutes, and then we can see when our the other stream's live, and we can go say hello to them.
Oh, I briefly want to drive over to the sea point before I'm switching over to you.
You can make things Poland, yes. It's only visible to you, but you can. You can't use binoculars? Of course you can. It probably has a placeholder view right now, so it's going to look into the...
It being the dev server, a lot of stuff is always subject to change and not finalized.
And as you say that, and just sort of flopping over, yeah.
Successfully managed to recover that one.
Of course.
Close though. Close call.
So I'll briefly show you Stalingrad as well, just very, very briefly while we round off here.
Yes. Switch over to you.
Yeah, I'll have a bit of a zoom. So like with Carpathians, it's effectively the same. It's a visual update, so in terms of gameplay, nothing really changes. There are some like elements on the ground. There was something that annoyed me actually in the original Stalingrad. There was some metal beams on the ground that were completely indestructible. Those are now not there. So
they're gone?
Yes.
That's good, yeah.
Everything on the floor is now destroyable or no longer there. So it's much more convenient to sort of like zoom around and that sort of thing. And it looks really nice. It's one of the another one of the older maps that's now got an upgrade. And I think every update where we can will be redoing some more of these. You see no difference? You clearly haven't played enough, my friend. Every building and element has been updated. And it looks really nice. And I believe our chums are also live. We can double check and then we can raid them and send you over. They'll show you some things we didn't. And they're usually a bit more technical because they have some more technical knowledge and more hands-on that we don't quite have. So please say hello to them. Be nice. And we'll hopefully see you soon.
Not quite yet, though. They seem to be...
Maybe just on YouTube, I'm not sure. If so, we can give you the link and then you can go and say hello. Slight differences? Yeah, there's always some superficial gameplay differences, but it's very, very light. It's mostly just a visual upgrade to make it look a bit... well, they are quite old.
They are
these maps now.
Going live on YouTube.
All right, so we can send you the link to go and see them. They will be flying the pancake as well. So you'll see some more details from Belanikov, our game director.
Let us send you their way.
Yeah. So the link in the Twitch chat, I suppose the YouTube chat as well, we'll send you there. They'll show you some more stuff. Please be nice. Ask them some questions too. Plop. And that's going to be all from us, I suppose. Yes. All right, well, thank you very much for the time. There's still quite a lot more that we haven't shown you that's not quite ready yet. So hopefully when the dev servers open over the period that's up, there'll be some more things to test and try. and you can give that a go. So there is some more things. Sweden, I think, will get something as well, hopefully. Obviously, we can't promise anything because the way things develop, maybe there's some extra things we need to sort through and that kind of thing. But there'll be some more. So thank you so much for your time. I hope it was okay. Apologies again for the coughing and the voice. Hopefully next time you see me, it'll be a little bit better. But please say hello to our colleagues. Thank you so much, and we'll see you very soon. Any final thoughts from you?
You've said it all, basically. But yeah, thank you for your time. Of course, also thank you for watching from me. Say hello to our colleagues on the Russian stream. And again, they will show the pancake plane flying as well. So if you want to see that,
yeah,
that is your chance. Thank you for watching, and until next time.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.